their kind of utility, their defense. It's always interesting to see if they put all that utility to get back into the site like Raze and Cypher somewhere else, and A is held by kind of that blind and find utility, what would be Omen and Jet Smokes maybe on Cat to get in. Interesting to always see how they set it up. XSET looking to bounce back today, and they're going to have to if they want to keep in this tournament. Some nice setups by Thwifo here, and we are going to get into game. I'm excited. The break between each day is actually too much. We just need to cut some more hours out of the day so we can get right back into the action. A lot of focus towards 80 here to start off for Gen.G. Let's see what they come up with here on the first round with just a GMD on tiles.
Indeed, XSET on that defense. Looking to be pretty passive so far. Had that tree control and not really wasting time is Gen.G moving up towards mid pretty quickly as well. They have that cap pressure also possible. It's looking to us like it might very well be an A split, but they are leaving themselves the options to go back quickly for a mid rotation. If they pull the defenders towards this A side, and they're able to actually just already make their way into the side actually, so looking pretty good. But XSET, they're not trying to overcommit for Jules just yet. They're trying to come in all together, and so far it's not going to work out too well, Riv.
But I thought initially XSET there had a pretty good rotation, understanding the smoke could have been a fake from Gamon from mid, and then they get into the site, and the trades are so in favor of Gen.G. 4v1, BCJ doing what he can with a little bit of dart work. One more left in the rounds, or in the chamber rather, as he reloads. And now just on to try and tag a few heads here and get a few laser shots to end the round. He's going to toy with them, but he's going to be hunted down here. Everybody coming from that tree garden area now through the window. Up above, it's going to be enough from Michael as he drops down and gets himself a sheriff. So first round for Gen.G. We'll see if they give some respect here to maybe a possible shorty buy or a possible eco buy here from XSET, and how fast they rush this.
Yeah, and this is a difficult one too, because at first I thought that the setup from XSET was to not necessarily challenge, just really hold on to tree control, but if they wanted to just go straight to site, let them, and then sort of wait it out, coordinate for a full retake. But they got kind of caught in some battles in the middle, and it got a little bit chaotic, but such is the way of pistols. They of course will be on the eco now, so we'll see if they can get any damage. Of course, when you're on the eco, you're not necessarily looking at trying to win rounds. You might try to have smaller goals, like trying to get a couple kills, steal away some weapons, and then see what you can do once you get into the mid round, if that first sort of phase is successful. And here we can see a stack towards B, and stacking sites is something that XSET really loves to do, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot of that even in the gun rounds.
XSET a bit short on util. They're not going to throw everything into that right now on a save round. So a little advantage to Gen.G, and I love just overall teams that take control of mid. It's so powerful on Ascent. The crossfire here, they're going to find one. Thwifo tries to get out of this situation, but he's going to be run down, gunned down as they see the stack is towards the B site. And we did coming up with a classic there. They're going to be possibly able to grab that Spectre and make a move here onto the site to do some economy damage to Gen.G.
Yeah, and it'd be really cool to see if they've got any sort of exit strategies here. Unfortunately, there's so much control for XSET right now. They know what's safe, so they can always fall back if things get a little bit dicey. And you can see Win there is able to spot basically everybody. And they're actually going to force it all the way in here. So they are going to force XSET, or rather Gen.G, to have to take some fights. Nice opener from Pura, but looks like things will be calming down here as these weapons are just too good for Gen.G. And XSET, I think they have to be happy with that. 3 kills, I think. You can definitely be very pleased to get that much damage in with a round like that.
Oh, there's the Odin coming out already from BCJ. He's going to take that over to B, see if he can start off some rounds. And yeah, you're right. The weapon's too much. Gen.G getting a bit of positioning there to start off. And XSET all coming from spawn, so you're not going to be able to really get too much of a flank on or have them looking at different angles on your entry. Quick rounds as we expected after the first one, or quick round, I should say. Now it's weapons in the hands of XSET. What can they do? We did see the impact rounds against FaZe for a few once they were figuring out the aggression, moving forward, grabbing info right away. So sitting on their heels here won't do them any good. Gen.G's already into that A main, as you were saying, Dan. Control over this orb is going to be big, and that puts Win 2 away from ultimate.
Yeah, they're going to prioritize it on him instead of Mikhail, and that's interesting, but we'll see whether or not this retake setup is going to work out, because the site's been completely given to XSET, and I think that's quite smart, given that XSET are on these weapons that are going to be really good close range, but in some of these longer fights aren't going to work out as well. I I think the retake play works here, but we'll see if they can make it happen. Sean is going aggressive for tree control. The tracer through, though. So XSET, we did is just owning them right now. 3 kills from him, and that's going to leave just Win with a Bucky. But that said, we all know how much damage the Bucky can do. Steel likes to remind us pretty consistently, but it will be a great retake after all is said and done. But it looks like one of those spots also where I think Gen.G are pretty happy considering how much damage they did. They got the spike down, and it was a bonus round.
Yeah, you're not going to be mad about that. An extra 300 in the pocket all around. We'll see what their buy is here. And still leaving a few on 1,000, full utility all around. So let's see if they do actually take some damage over here at B. You made a mention of the Mikhail not getting that Hunter's Fury. He does have it this round. Now Wynn's on deck for his ult. We also have Aaron on the other side waiting there with From the Shadows on We Did. So a few that could be utilized here pretty early. We're only on round 4. We're seeing ultimates pop up. That's what you love to see. It could help really control these first or second buy rounds. As we start off, Paint Shells dodged out by Wynn's quick dash. And he'll be able to set up here back by Gelato. It doesn't look like they're going to want anything here at A. Feeling out what XSET wants right now. I'm still thinking Gen.G is going to send a few towards mid just to get that broken up again, not allow the rotation to be so easy, and they're already starting to encroach on that position.
Yeah, very fast mid take from Gen.G, and the door is down. So in terms of the information game, although there is position here now for Gen.G, they would have to give up the game perhaps to break the door, create some pressure. That would definitely cause some rotations from A. So they've got to be set up before they make that move, and they have just made that move. The door is down, and they're starting to pressure the B site. Defender rotation is coming, but can Gen.G take the site in time before it gets there? And they're not going too quickly. They're actually holding their ground. They are counting on the defender rotation, and they want to punish it. But I'm not sure how well this is going to go. Mikhail will be able to take down one on the flank, but now they're moving in, and the defenders are ready to go.
Already into the site. I would have said at that point, if you're still in main, start rotating over with that rotation. You hear the Odin in the back trying to find him. XSET kind of cleaning up right now, as it was such a scatter within the site. What a round coming up there for BCJ to stay alive. Dead to rights, really, as Gen.G was coming in, and they just get wiped out.
Yeah, it was interesting because it looked like Gen.G was setting up, like we said, with the door down. As soon as they break that door, the rotation from A with 3 players on the side of XSET are going to rotate. So either you try to rush in at that point because you can get a timing advantage to get like a 5 versus 2 on the B site, or the other thing that they did was they just waited because they wanted to seemingly punish the rotation, and that didn't really work out for them. So we'll have to see if they'll adjust their maneuvers like that if they run that round again in the future. But for now, it's definitely a great start for XSET, who are doing really well in their retakes, and they're starting to build some money, and it feels like they're in the driving seat now.
Quick tech pause as Gen.G restarts comms, gets those up and running once again. Kind of imperative to have as we get back into this one. And yeah, looking at that, Dan, I almost called that XSET was giving up too much room, right? Obviously, they closed door. They know they're playing a bit of a retake if mid is left alone. But with what Gen.G is able to do with space like that, moving up with Guaman, able to just make moves, you have to be careful. They were ready, and they kind of are adapting to knowing Gen.G is going to want to push mid, doing their homework. Definitely,
and it's interesting too because I think if Gen.G slow the game down too much, I think XSET might be quite difficult to read because, again, as mentioned before, they're a team that will use the Sentinels like Sova, and although I guess Sova's technically an initiator, and Cypher as well, to get that information early round, and then use that to kind of, they're not too shy to just gamble off that information. Some teams would want to get more information to actually genuinely have enough pieces to kind of put together, okay, our opponents are doing this.
Right.
But usually when you do that as a defenders, you're also telling the attackers information about what your setups look like. So it's always going to be a trade-off. And XSET like to play the stacking gameplay where they'll get that info early and then try to just stack off of it, like gamble off of it. So we'll see if that's what they'll continue to do against Gen.G here. I think this is a round that will give us a clue as to whether they're going to approach with that style of play.
So all that info, and yeah, we talked about it a little bit before to see how they either team on defense would play kind of retake potential. This would be if everyone waits and it's an take, all of your utility, as you said, the Sova, the Cypher, to retake. That makes it really effective when you want to get raise nades in there if they're still alive. And then the other side is going to be all of the damage. Sova, Cypher going to have to back up. You're still going to have that util, but it's just a matter of how you want to play it, how you're going to feel comfortable coming in with that utility, with that power play. Still waiting on this as they get comms raring and going. And it looks like a hover towards A. Anything can happen this round. But it has been kind of the A, like you said, focus on the main, back up, figure out what's going on, at least a few mid to cut off quick rotations and market control. And Gen.G's been happy with that. XSET figuring it out now a few rounds in as we start to get to those weapons.
Yeah, and it does already, as you mentioned, that you're using like the word retake, and it does really feel like XSET very comfortable with that style of play, and that is kind of to the nature of the stacking gameplay, where you're saying, okay, if you come into our stack, obviously we're going to fight for it, and we have a really strong chance to defend. If you go elsewhere, well, we have all the retake setups, so that's how we like to play. We're drilled in how we do that, so we're comfortable no matter what happens, and we can play against teams that are really good at denying information. And instead of feeling the pressure, because a lot of teams on the defense, it's all about trying to fight for that information, and an attacking default is all about taking information away from the defenders. So if your attacking team is really effective in their defaults, you feel really uncomfortable because you don't know how to make a good decision. You just don't have the information to do it. Yeah. But XSET seem to be, in the style of play that they have on this map, really comfortable against teams that are successful in denial of information. So it's that's really good. And one extra point actually, Riv, is that
hit it.
Gen.G is a team that does really well against pretty much everyone. And I think against the top teams, they tend to seem to, there's like a hump that they struggle to get over when they have these leads. And so XSET is a team where I think Gen.G are going to be more comfortable to like play their best. So that doesn't really work out well in XSET's favor, but as we discussed before, at least XSET will be much more comfortable playing a Gen.G than a FaZe.
No, that's absolutely true. Gen.G kind of has that play to the level of your opponent if they're kind of like the envy, and then Gen.G are playing their game, which might, like you say, allow XSET a chip at that armor. And right now, back and forth, punch for punch here, is XSET do figure that out. And again, a question that I had coming in here, you know, with them playing against FaZe and not being able to iterate from map to map and fall to the aggression, what would happen if they, you know, ebb and flow against, I want to say just GMD, against Gen.G during this game, to make sure they always have control, they always have advantage, and they're not kind of forced buying on rounds that will, if a loss, cause them to lose another 2 in a row. Looks like it is going to be a bit of an A strat over as we're getting a little bit more motion. I think we're still hanging though. They're trolling us.
Yeah, I wonder.
I was like,
it's actually really funny because it's like you have like the clock there and like the time is stopped. Like I really wonder like what's going on in like the lore of this world as well, because obviously the time is literally stopped. All of the buildings are like somehow exploding but not moving. So I'm curious, like once we get more insight into the actual lore behind this game, like what it all means.
I'd say I guess that's a property of Radianite in its like explosive form. Maybe whatever is surrounding it. I don't know. I guess that would be really cool though, if you were like stuck and frozen in time if you were caught in the bomb radius, then the spike radius, right? And then you're kind of evaporated as it comes back in. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. I like it though.
It's better than
we got
anything
pizza.
I have,
We got perpetually hot steaming pizza over here in market.
Ooh.
Anything is possible.
That's a plus of time standing still.
Maybe that's a property of
like
Radiant as well. It keeps all your food warm.
Nice.
Why are people trying to take this away?
What even is that? Is that a pepperoni pizza?
I think so. It looks kind of like an everything. I see some banana peppers on there. A little tang. Would be delicious. Still waiting on the tech pause. If you're just coming in, we are on the lower bracket games. This is Fighting for Your Life in Valorant NA Masters. XSET versus Gen.G. And right now we're just a few rounds in. Both teams kind of going punch for punch here. BCJ, you can see him. He's like You buy an Odin and you're just made to wait. You know he wants to just unload that. And every time I hear somebody unloading an Odin, I just imagine like kind of this Rambo yell going on in their head. You know, just this fierce face, and they're just screaming out loud.
It is such a strong weapon on the B site. Ooh, I didn't actually know that was there. That's pretty sick. So many little Easter eggs.
It is. It's so much fun to use on B.
But yeah, it's interesting too because the Sova's playing that style has come in and out of the meta, and it's just cool to see that it is strong. So you just have to know how to deal with it. But you know, enough about that. I think we are going back into the game shortly. It does look like we're going to see a main start or control play to start off with coming in from Gen.G. So we'll have to see what exactly XSET have. They don't look like they actually want to contest it. They're playing pretty far back on the A site. Got the knives out for win as well to start things off, and it's going to make his way up catwalk here. So yeah, it looks like they just want to go for an A split here.
This would be such a big round if the Blade Storm comes up with just even at least a few and then damage to tag on after. The Frenzies could follow up easily. And they do have a bit of a split, as you were saying. They're getting ready for the Paranoia smoke coming in from the right side. Alt Orb, as they push in, Aaron comes up with one. Quinn will be able to capitalize on one. He's still alive and roaming the site. I don't think we did knows it. Oh, and he gets taken down. Beautifully done by Win, but Pure and Thryfall coming in huge to take down the two that were making the impact frags for Gen.G.
Yeah, great stuff there from XSET once again. Sort of reading the round nicely, you know, showing that they're very comfortable to give up the site. They knew that they knew the economy of their opponents. They knew exactly what was going to be bought pretty much, and so just playing passive. So pretty standard stuff there. And they were going into the next buy round, and I'm curious, you know, last time we saw Gen.G just going for like the walk in mid and setting up a B split. It was pretty straightforward. I wonder if we'll see a different take from them here. But, you know, we actually see XSET looking like they want to challenge mid at the beginning of the round. So that's going to be interesting because that could really disrupt what Gen.G is doing.
Yep, here we go. Called it straight out. Showstopper Tiles sees him, gets him. Nail in the coffin on Sean. Big frag coming in this round. Sean did have Empress up and could have been changing things up from Tiles on this buy. And now, come on, push back. GMD looking for some shots over towards B, knowing they got to play a little sweaty now on the fly from what they wanted to do at the beginning of the round as Spike makes its way over towards that B site. And you still have Quinn in mid.
What a scary round.
Yeah.
From the shadows from We did as well. We didn't even catch that. And that's created so many problems. Gen.G heavily disrupted now. Have to find a way to get a pick. And Win's the only one who will find success there. And Michael as well is going to be trying to rotate around to be able to join forces to get in towards A with that spike. But it's going to require Win to do a lot. And he is in so much trouble here on the catwalk. He's out in the open. Paint shells out. Gets sprayed down by BCJ. And for Michael, really now it's all just about getting some damage, and it's looking very grim indeed. XSET, they're causing a lot of problems, and I love to see the fact that they aren't just trying to play passive. They are showing a lot of confidence, using their ults and creating a lot of disruption.
I'm right there with you. This round made me smile on my face to see him go out hard, as well as Aaron playing that so smart. You know, 2 HP doesn't mean, hey, I'm going to go find more and do things. He played such good sentry, figuring out where more were, drawing pressure. BCJ was able to capitalize on someone firing back at him at Tiles. And just with 2 HP, doing so much more than just kind of ending the round with finding someone else. You love to see that, the smart play. And now 3-2 XSET. Feeling good.
Definitely. And
actually 4-2 because it's round 7. I think we're missing the next set round.
It feels like as well, Gen.G haven't been able to really run their default, and that's a big problem because one of the elements of doing that is that you're able to kind of set the pace and the tempo, and you're conditioning the defenders over time, which allows you to get a lot more of an understanding as to how to get your advantages and how to play with the defender rotation. But right now, it's actually XSET that it feels like they're calling the shots, and that's not really how it's supposed to work out. So Gen.G are in quite a desperate position. Win has the Vandal, but overall, not a great look on the weaponry for them, and once again, looking for that B split.
Nice checks. They know main's open for now. And that might be their time to move in. They're still playing it very patient. Spike's going over to Tiles. Aaron with nice frag. Another one towards Market, so they know they got to be watching mid a little bit. Oh, no way, Aaron. Switching back and forth. Doesn't even know which one he wants to be taking people down with, and it doesn't even matter. Great play, 2 rounds in a row. He's definitely feeling it.
That feels bad, man. Oh, wow. That's a rough one. Well, still plenty of rounds to play out in this first half.
Last player standing.
And the Odin. It's so much fun on the B site in this map. Aaron finishing it off. Great stuff from him. And, well, again, just as I said, previously, it really feels like XSET is dictating everything right now. And, Gen.G going for that B split that previously, they used on a buy round, also didn't work out too well. Would really like to see something different now from them. Trying to play like a slower round, trying to play more control, maybe try to start off with a main control. In terms of the ult economy, though, as far as Gen.G are concerned, they have pretty much everything. So lockdown is available. If they have any set pieces that they have in the books, that the playbook, now might be a good time for that.
Yep. So try to go within a rotation window that you're firing off. They're going to try to get mid control here. And that's a precedent, right? A few rounds in a row, you're going to see XSET pushing out. Now the drone's usage is for mid to see if they even have to push or worry about it. Cat's going to be the play for now as they head up towards the tree area. And this is going to be a slow push in. Aaron in a dangerous spot when people are coming, backing off. Maybe the play, and he does get himself into an advantageous position, but still found by GMG as they look to take A site.
Great stuff there from Gen.G. Weeders on the side, though, still alive and kicking, but Sean will be able to deal with him. So that's the biggest problem now in this round dealt with. That was the major chance for some kind of a comeback in this one for XSET. For Thwifo and BCJ, it's going to be quite difficult indeed. Always nice, though, with having a Sova in this spot. There's lots you can do with the arrows. You can bang those shot darts into hell pretty easily. The recon, the Odin, it's definitely strong, but this is a lot to ask from BCJ, and they are giving him full respect. Pete comes in as they know that he'd be forced to check for that recon, and Thwifo not really able to do much from this position. And this round actually could have definitely gone quite poorly for Gen.G. XSET were kind of expecting either a lockdown play or something of that nature, a rush. They were playing a defensive setup. If Gen.G were not as successful against Aaron here on tree, then if Aaron's able to buy time with his paint shells, maybe get a kill, I think XSET have a very strong chance to retake this.
We got a lot of ultimates coming up in this next round. It should be an ult frenzy on this, honestly. Do we see A being the option here? No. And I think they know Win's going to fight for that ult orb, so you see how many from XSET right now are about to come out of that A side, making sure no one's there. And we'll see what ults get activated first. Hovering around Mikhail again towards Market with that drone. Everybody avoids. A little bit of that spam coming from the Odin as BCJ looks to tag a few. Oh! Pull on Thwifo as he jumps up. Sean takes him down with an insta headshot from the Vandal as it's going to be a B hit here, Dan. And it looks like they're going in hard with the Sober ult over their shoulder.
And BCJ, the lone man on the B side, unable to do anything, unfortunately, for XSET. So they're in a hell of a difficult position.
Yep.
Everybody coming from spawn, it's looking very poor considering that XSET have had plenty of time to get post-spawn positioning. So they could be in Market, they could be in B main, they could be in mid, they could have a lurker through A as far as XSET are concerned. There's just too many issues for a retake here, so they will go for the full save, especially with the operator on Pura. Makes a lot of sense. But one thing I think that's interesting in so far as the way that Gen.G are approaching this is Gen.G are playing a much more of a gambly play style in the sense that basically the presence that they show, that's kind of where they're going. And they don't have any lurkers on the other side of the map. And typically with Gen.G, you actually expect that Akusto would be lurking or that they would play someone on the other side of the map to the other team. But that's not happening right now. So if XSET were to figure that out and start to actually play more aggressively at the early round, take A main control, take B main control, fight for those things early in the round, I think they'd get all the info they need.
I mean, I bring that up and then I kind of like rings in my head. I'm like, Kusta would be firing a Roomba over off at B garage to alert, come on mid, and then kind of move around. We'll see. We will see. They are going for tiles once again. Kusa going to set that turret up nice and easy so they can see anything from Cat or that B push. Even an alert there as well to make sure, yeah, turret's there. Do they push even more? And they'll have that knowledge. Common drone now coming out to make sure the mid of the map is covered. And I guess that's kind of the flow you'll see is if both teams are going somewhat round for round, it's going to be that, all right, we'll get some utility out before we push. We're feeling pretty equal right now, and there isn't too much confidence exuded from everybody. Mikhail down to 15 HP to start this one off, and that'll really make you reconsider what's going to happen in the round.
Really big problem though for Gen.G because as we said, like they had everybody by tiles and by B lobby, so they have no control A main. And as far as they know, XSET could have pushed that. XSET didn't. I think XSET there's a very strong argument that that should be something that they're doing in some of these rounds, but they didn't do it. So now we have a cut noise from Gen.G where they have allowed enough time that they could have rotated towards A. So this gets a little bit confusing now for XSET too. There is a timing now where XSET don't really know what's going on, and they're playing retake on B. And Michael gets a very important kill. That's going to tell everything to XSET, but I don't know how they're going to hold this.
There's one. Pura's going to help. He's going to be just out of range, and now, again, they think about moving in. Not going to rotate just yet. Time's ticking down. The perfect moment to head in on the lockdown comes through, and they are towards that lane side. Twyfo's going to be able to take one down as Kusta gets the digital molly back onto him traded. Mikhail is planting, and they should have good control over the back of the site, and Gamond was able to make it into garage.
Very tough retake here. The B main lurk is always going to be a problem there for GMD. That's a great first kill. Aaron, though, he senses it. He knows someone has to be there, and GMD is very, very weak. Nice headshot there from Pura. He was actually looking for that too, and still can't get it. GMD simply too quick. Nice little jiggle coming through now. There's the showstopper ready to go. Is he going to send it? There it is. Sending it straight to the back. And our Aaron, there we go. Aaron is going to be able to make it happen. And that's just so beautiful to see. You got to be feeling real bad for Gen.G right now.
A Red Bull clutch for him. We've seen the rounds where he flies out, and even if the alarm bot was going to hit him, he's got it. Transfer on that, runs in. He thinks about the nade, but he says, no, don't want to chance it. A confidence that we're going to get in there with the showstopper, and they rock it. They even follow up BCJ's Hunter's Fury and the Neural Uplink coming into this round. Good ults for Gen.G, though, so don't count them out. I believe it is now 6-4 as we're in round 11. XSET there in the lead.
Oh, the paranoia play, and Pura picks up the kill. We talked about some of that A main aggression. They're not going to go for a full take, but they'll be very happy with the pick. Meanwhile, Gen.G use the aggression A to be like, okay, well, there can't be too many people towards mid, so we can get that for free. And so that's something taken back, but they're still down a man.
Aaron, almost on that one. He's feeling a little too confident to play those positions, Dan. Kale, though, firing in onto We Did. XSET's going to have a good retake on this site as they lose Twyfo in the back, but it is possible in the 3v3.
No post-bomb positioning, indeed. It's always a tough look. Drone coming through as well to tag somebody. That's been pretty dangerous. That the wall is quite bangable there. The boathouse. Pura finding a nice angle towards that boathouse, and now it's going to be up to Sean here. Close range with the Empress there. It's going to be very helpful. Able to dismiss into a new position, looking for another 1v1, isolating them, but maybe not. Pura, he can't be denied there with the operator, not missing the beat.
You know, Dan, I love to see Pura stepping up. The second map against FaZe, he was not having fun at all. They were shutting him down. He wasn't able to find his shots. The situations where you know you have an inside angle on someone, but somehow they're shooting you instead of your teammate first, it was that kind of day for him. To see him popping off here shows that mentality. He can just get to the next day without even thinking about what happened before and put on an amazing show. So more power to him. The rest of the team is also flowing on that side of XSET, and they're putting up some good rounds here as we are in the final round of the first half.
Yeah, this is amazing. I mean, it feels like Gen.G, they just didn't, their game plan isn't really working out for them. They've had to rely on more gambly plays, and it's not been a lot of fun. XSET have been finding a lot of comfort, and we'll see the drone coming through from A main. And the BCJ is going to be seeing that there's nobody here right now. It doesn't mean that they can't retake it, though. It depends on their pacing, and they're actually speeding things up towards Catwalk right now. And, we talked about XSET stacking towards certain parts of the map right now, and they're definitely stacked towards B, but the push is going to come towards A.
Patience is a virtue, Dan.
Always.
1 minute on this one. Oh! The tagger was one. Everybody's getting scattered. Hwin goes in. The double knife. The triple knife from Hwin for the win. And they are going to easily have A. What was that?
That was sick. That's what that was from Hwin. Beautiful stuff there. He's looking for the ace now. Don't think he knows who the last player is, but I think we're all rooting for him at this point. Hwin with such an excellent round. Sean's going to take it away, but beautiful play from the Jet. That's what you want to see. It's that explosiveness, the X factor coming in for Gen.G to get a 5-7 half. It was a difficult half, but now they can forget about it and just move on to the defensive side where things will be very different.
Wow, I love that too. Just he's like, hit me with it. I don't care. I'm full in. Sean coming up over the shoulder. That's a great round, especially to come back on when you're down in the half to start off the next half. Pistol round, you get a little bit of momentum in there. They're feeling good, and we'll see how they carry this out. Gen.G now to see what they can do here, stopping the offensive tactics of XSET.
And what sort of pace will we see here from XSET on the attack? Not looking too quick at the moment, just clearing B main control, creating some pressure. Again, defenders often might want to get aggressive somewhere. Catwalk's a great one because it allows you to kind of deal with everything. You get information, you're able to have fast rotations, and you can always be helpful for your team. So we'll see that cat aggression coming from Gen.G on the defense. Now the game's been given away, though, because Sean's going to spot the push coming through B main, but it's been slowed down here by this nano swarm, and that's a huge problem for XSET.
Getting that dismiss allowed him to get out. Such a risky position to play there, knowing they could be rushing, but he's feeling comfy. You can tell what that says about Sean right now. He moves in again. The rest of the team giving him some help there as Kusta there next to Switch. Oh, God! Hits him with a fan right in the face. Are you serious? There's a shot from Sean. Still alive. Still pumping. That's a 3K for him.
Nice hold comes through, and it's so, as you say, like the combination of having that forward position, winning that first battle. That's why you need to get, your most skillful players on, or mechanically gifted players on Arena. You get that first kill, dismiss away, slows the push down. Nanoswarm gets popped, and the rotation is fully in for the defenders, giving them all of the advantages. Such a great round.
All right, how do they do it next? This is going to be that save over on the side of XSET. Sean giving him the what for on that first round, and there's going to be a call that there's a little love for mid, and no sight on that means Gen.G probably going to play a little bit more reserved here to just get those frags as the close corners come to fruition.
I like this. You lose the sight, but you just say, okay, you guys can have the sight. We'll take a main control, so you're going to have a very hard time, but maybe not. Aaron is going in there. Looks like Michael's going to be able to deal with that quite nicely. And it looks like there's a lot of potential, positionally speaking, for XSET to make some things happen. It's just BCJ. This is a very low player, but looks like Michael with the swing is going to get it done. 7-7. And we're all tied up here on Ascent. This is the first map of this series. This is an elimination situation for these teams as well in the lower bracket. So a lot on the line here at Masters 1.
Yeah, a lot of pressure. This is Gen.G's pick as well. XSET choosing defense. So XSET doing quite well. They did their homework, probably figuring that Gen.G would pick this. It's, XSET's second most played map competitively. So not too shabby there. They're going to have something in the strap book to get themselves to these sites. It's seeing how the site hold and host plants go right now. Like you said, 7-7. You gotta love games that go punch for punch, and we'll see if that happens here in the second half. A little bit of a push in by Pura and the rest of the team. It seems like a full committal over here onto that A site, and there isn't too much aggression coming out on the side of Gen.G's B, so they're not really grabbing that info. But you also have to consider this camera's up here, and they can see everything that's going on, so XSET feels comfortable.
Very tense situation. You may expect a contact play, and it's like, there it is. Pura will be able to trade onto Michael. They don't necessarily know that GMG's right around the corner, dropping another smoke. Going into the smoke, Pura is going to happily deal with that one as he dashes forwards, trying to take more space for the team towards Tree. And XSET are setting it home right now as there's nothing that Gen.G can do. They keep going for the challenges, but they are losing everyone. Sean is left, and he's going for a very desperate play. Straight forward onto the site, almost making it look doable with the frenzy, but XSET will shut it down 8-7.
I love watching Sean play. That's just the Sean way. You know, it's like you're gonna have to hit that site fast enough that you're catching everybody still on their current angle. And imagine if that gun had dropped down off Jenny and he has it. What a different story. But yeah, I always love that fast-paced play where you're just trying to hit everybody the moment they aren't looking. It requires some damn good aim. We'll see what happens though. XSET's still on top of it. Their aim is the one that's hitting true for this last round. And now we're on a double gun round. Actually, we're gonna see Aaron on that Spectre, but he does have full util, so that's what he's deciding. That's going to be a little bit more of a priority. And Mikhail takes a bit of spam damage there as it looks to be finally a spread here. XSET's going to say, hey, let's see if we can start toying with them. We'll get a little bit of rotation towards B in a 3-2 split cross map, but they have to be careful about their mid info and how long they don't have that.
And Michael using the drone to get some additional information, and seeing Jet there in that cubby is quite a tell. So we'll see what the response is from both teams. If Gen.G were looking like they, or others, if XSET were looking like they wanted to actually go for a push there, they have time to sort of reset out. And at the same time, Gen.G not really caring too much, just holding on to pretty basic safe positioning on their defense. And they're feeling that slower pace from XSET, so they're trying not to jump to any conclusions just now.
No more charges left.
With that said, the drone will be spotted coming out from BCJ in mid, which is a tell that they are trying to take some mid control, of course. So we'll start to see XSET working on the completion to the round now.
Like it, 3-2 to a full mid. Distraction, no follow-up is close enough. They can't close the gap like the flashbacks do, and they're finally getting into that spike site. Mikhail taking down Sean in the accidental friendly fire. Pure is going to take advantage of a bit more open space in the site. A perfect thing for Jet to do. Not enough time to plant. Looking for maybe a few more frags to damage the eco, and it's just going to be about 0.2 late on that one, I believe. Oh, got it. Don't try to do math on stream. Nice 300 grabbed. It looked like he got it down at like 389, and it was just going to be off, but it was over 4 seconds. That's what's required, and they're going to give it over here to Mikhail. Get another alt point on the board.
Yeah, that was really close. He was, if just maybe like 1 more second to reposition, maybe Puro has the opportunity to do something there.
Yeah.
But yeah, 8-8. We're all tied up, and taking stock of the money situation, we'll see both teams in with purchases, and XSET not really looking as good.
No.
Win on that operator's certainly going to be interesting. We can see that he's going to take a peek on Catwalk to start things off, and we can also see that XSET are looking to maybe go for a fast play into this A site, but Gen.G I think will have a lot to defend this with because they're stacked towards the A side of the map.
And that's a fast play. Instant Jenny kill onto Kusta as they fire out the Hunter's Fury. And they're flying into sight, and it's causing a bit of rotation here from XSET. Look at the rotation around from Gen.G here. You do have Sean just on the flank, and that may come up big.
Spike planted.
All stuck on the sites for XSET. It's going to be a tough hold. Gen.G trying to set up around it. Sean did the smart thing. He broke the trip, so he's suggesting that there's a flank, but he's going to help his teammates come out of tree towards that site position. There's the showstopper coming through just to buy time here from Aaron. We'll have to see if that's going to come into play now as the rest of Gen.G start to make their way forward. It's Michael with a double, and it's looking phenomenal right now for Gen.G's retake. What is this, though, from Aaron? Jumping up, taking all the power away from him in a high ground position. BCJ by Hell will get taken down. It's all up to Aaron, but he can't finish it off.
Oh, these rounds, Dan, they're so awesome to watch. Everybody's making split decision plays at the last moment. You're basically getting swarmed, blast packing out of the situation, knowing you're about to take shots from your 6. Aaron gets up, gets 2, has to turn around with insta-fights, knowing that BCJ is stuck underneath with a stinger at that moment. Well, these rounds are hectic, and Gen.G's doing a great job of sourcing out where the problem is to keep the round in their favor. Another one for them there as they take the lead here in this match.
Yeah, it's looking pretty crazy right now, and I'm still waiting for Win to get like an opening pick here. This might be the round as there is more mid presence early on, and Win is looking for it and can't quite find it, but Sean certainly will. A quick double as he just mows them down from mid to top mid. And that's awful for XSET. Someone has to come up with something big. This is a 3 versus 5 this early on. It just comes down to, at this point for XSET, somebody making a huge play. It really is as simple as that. Wanted to be that man, but unfortunately he couldn't find that opening pick he was looking for. And more info for Gen.G getting the spot with the drone in mid.
And that stings. He's Weeded's down to 31 HP there. He says, Sacrificial Lamb, I'll go first. See if I can find anything here on that mid area. They do have good utility to find someone, maybe single out a kill here with creating a smoke to get themselves entry to a site, but it's going to be tough. They're finding just about all the utility still available and ready out in a site from Kusta and the rest of the team ready to come back in. Quick dart to make sure they do have movement on this. That's Dwifo's ult, but maybe just a point for BCJ here if they want to capitalize on a bit more advantage of the round. Yeah, he'll grab that for the Hunter's Fury.
Well, looks like they're just going to hold on to their guns at this point.
Thanks for the orb. Bye.
Yeah, it's always so difficult when you lose a couple players early on the attack. There's very little you can do because you have to gain space, and normally, gaining space, let's say position towards the site or the site itself, there comes a cost normally, a cost of players, utility, to get that position. It's the trade. And so when you're down to 3 players and they have 5 left, well, it's not a good trading situation. So 10-8 for Gen.G, definitely looking like they are stabilizing at this point. The mid aggression has been phenomenal, and XSET are on the back foot here. XSET have to change something.
I feel like this map's going to be, every map is important, but with Haven coming up next, we've seen a lot of teams just get turned around on Haven and it not go their way, being such a diverse map, all sites. So this one coming down to the wire is going to mean a lot here in this best of series. As we said, Bind, one of the better maps for XSET, going to be the last one here if they make it to the best of 3, but they've practiced them all. That's not to say they can only Bind. We see this great match here on Ascent as they continue to take rounds off of Gen.G there in the first half, but now seem to fall. Gen.G's aggression is just online at the moment.
Oh, so much information there with that drone, but we have XSET now trying to speed things up. They know that Gen.G have a great idea as to what's happening, and Gen.G, they're completely set up to defend this. They are in ideal positions, and it doesn't look like XSET has really an answer for those positions, as we'll get Weeder getting a frag onto Michael, and the trace come through from Wifo, but still, it's going to be a hell of a task to get the spike, which is down by spawn, and then get to a planting position when he's got 72 HP, and Win and Sean know exactly where he is.
Slow play. Can't really fake too much of a fight here. I don't think anybody's going to buy that you're shooting at somebody and then they peek out to get you. It's all just whether you pass their angle right now on contact.
I have retrieved the spike.
Quick grab of the spike from distance. I'm sure Sean can notice the edge of the spike gone. No, it doesn't seem like he's left his angle at all. 18 seconds. Good amount of time here. This close to the site for Twifo to work with. Camera usage that they did here, so they know he's somewhere within range. And that's the drop into sight, Dan. This is going to make it tough.
One enemy remaining.
He's got to find the next one in time. He knows his boathouse. Can he find the headshot? He's spraying wildly.
No!
He's got to find it in time, though. Oh, man. Oh, he actually does get the kill, which is great.
That is a big kill.
But, yeah, that was a tough spot. Just like you said, I mean, he got everything he could get out of it, really. 11-8 in favor of Gen.G. Definitely a great defense. Again, that drone, the timing... And this is one of those things too, when you have a good read on your opponent's pacing when they're on the attacking side, and you can get that information at that key moment when you can just like that one piece of info tells you absolutely everything, then the defenders suddenly have a huge advantage. And that was what BCJ was able to, or rather, sorry, Michael was able to do for Gen.G.
That all-door focus again? Is that Mikhail's? Seems like they'll be focusing it quite a bit just to make sure they can get back online with how they fire. Not Mikhail, sorry, that was BCJ. And now they move into A. Ooh, fast plant on this one, knowing that just sit outside, garrison A main, and try to fire back in with the utility that they have. Great job pushing Gen.G back. How did they react on an immediate plant round?
Wiping for the very late lurk. Showstopper from Aaron is going to... Oh, that's huge. Kusa had a lockdown. I think he was going to place that lockdown. It might not matter, though, because the rest of Kusa's teammates are just forcing the issue, getting the kills. 4 versus 2 here for them as XSET are in a very, very bad position. BCJ in the dark cover. It's going to come down to great timing. With gets one down to BCJ. And, well, he won't be able to find anything.
Dan,
12 rounds now for Gen.G.
You said it perfectly. You know, considering the timing of the round, Spike being planted, and where a Killjoy would be at that time, that wasn't a blind, this is going to be someone. That was the Killjoy position. And then for Gen.G to be able to say, all right, it's guns blazing then, that was pretty awesome that they kind of just had that in their back pocket and it didn't set them back. 12-8, game point here on our first map before we move on to Haven in this best-of-3 lower bracket series. Both teams going to be fighting for their life here in the NA Valorant Masters tournament. And they have another map to go through. This one not over yet. 4 more rounds for XSET brings us into overtime. And they're going to be kind of on a semi-purchase here. Utilities not all around for them. We'll see how they play out this round. With 2 down already. Deja vu, Dan.
Yeah, and I was going to say, it's hard enough that the ult advantage is usually in favor of Gen.G. They didn't even have to play aggressively at all. They could just try to play the retake game and just use that utility, the Hunter's Fury and the Lockdown, to massive retake ultimates to play passively, but they're confident, and that's a scary reality. And Win, he's working on the ace right now. 4 kills for him as he looks to finish this one off in style. I wouldn't be surprised to see the daggers come out indeed, and him just try to charge down We Did. They might even try to knife him. Look, oh no, this is just the worst thing possible for We Did. Know exactly where he is. Oh, there's the ace to finish off the first map from Win. 13-8, and Gen.G are looking fantastic.
It is going to be XSET on defense, Gen.G on attack to start this one off. And it looks like they are going to have a little bit of love for mid to start here, like you were hoping, Dan.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how much they'll get out of this, because we see initially Gen.G actually spotting that and like, okay, we don't really want a part of this. They're going to fall back out towards A very quickly on this pistol, and Kooks is leading the charge. Will take down BCJ, so that will help them to open up some position, maybe have some breathing room to plant this spike. However, XSET do have players in from spawn. Oh, Gen.G though, answering back nicely, looking like they have a huge advantage here as they try to get the plant down. Also trying to fake it, because if there is a player on the spike and he's planting it, obviously for those 4 seconds, they're down a man. And Sean he's just ravaging the defense right now. XSET, they got wiped clean, pretty much.
Taking them out with the Reyna, on fire with Phoenix, it doesn't matter. And Dan, I love the adaptation that round of what happened. There was, you saw at least the Omen and the Jet mid, right? And then you felt the utility of something else. So you're saying, wait, all right, yo, cat short, go short. You were going to beat them into sight, and then we set up. So really quick on the fly play there for Gen.G to understand that it was a stack towards B, and they take over with the power and numbers on A almost immediately.
In this round, the only firepower really is the Sheriff for BCJ, and on the XSET side of things. So not really too much for Gen.G to worry about. Some of say are, okay, well, there goes the Sheriff.
No. Clothesline.
Well, there's a control, so that kind of tells Gen.G exactly what they need to do now. So that's pretty much over now for this anti-eco. With that said, though, and maybe XSET can find some exit kills. Again, though, the reason why that's unlikely is because of the control in mid from Sean, and also the control from GMD and A lobby. So there is always a safe exit and you're not really motivated to kill these remaining players. You don't really get that much for doing it, except ultimate charge and maybe a little bit of kill bonus.
Yeah, or they're gonna, oh, I was gonna say they're gonna throw themselves into the fire, but more like the shock dart as the flawless round comes up. Sean finds himself another round there as he's just racking up the alt orbs through fragging out. And we are now into round 3. Should have weapons on both sides here. We'll see how XSET decides to play this, where their defensive is going. Always getting a few traps over towards that C side, makes it easy. It looks like they're going to leave B open, which is kind of a carefree thing. But they're going to do a window trap instead of the forward one that would detect a garage push. So we'll see how they decide to rotate off of this. And it looks like Thwyfo is going to have to stay in C a little longer depending on what happens.
Yeah, I like this from XSET playing sort of retake on B, trying to get that aggression towards A lobby. They know it's a pretty good shot, that early round timings, that this will be somewhat free for them. B is going to go to Gen.G, as we expected. And now it just comes down to, you know, this is something that XSET would have probably expected as a very strong possibility. But it's hard to hold on to this side of things. There's no flanking though, so there's no A lobby push, there's no window control or grass control coming from XSET. That might make things a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, I love it. I think we saw, obviously people do it, but I know we saw Sentinels doing this quite a bit. It's just quick beef, dash in there with the jet, get out. And it just seems to be that round that works when you set a precedent towards other sites. But wait, XSET making a fight for this one as Kustas finds 3 with the Spectre just outside as they all line up to defend the spike. What a round there for Gen.G, but you gotta love it. In and out, you know they're gonna have to pressure it, and they're kind of back on their heels now for another round. 3-0 Gen.G.
Yeah, I really love this when you're on the bonus as well and you have the SMGs, because as you say, you know that you're going to get the plant, and so that's going to draw guaranteed fights to you in some spots where maybe you don't feel like you have a lot of advantages, but you get the spike money and you are going to force fights, and if you get some good timings, you might win the round. So it's like a great way to play the bonus. And you know, we're still going to see a spec there on Michael. So economy definitely looking great for Gen.G, as XSET certainly on the back foot on another eco round. Bucky for Weeded. We see a frenzy on Puro, Sheriff on, or I think there was a Sheriff in the mix. Yeah, there we go. Onto BCJ and Thwyfo. So there is some firepower here for XSET. And you can see that they're almost anticipating a similar play, at least in the early timings. But there is a tripwire there to alert them to that.
Yeah, you only take that Vandal fight once when you only have a pistol. Backing up to see if they can get the close angles now for XSET inside that A site. And next round, definitely want to see XSET pushing up a little bit more, grabbing the info. It's something they suffered against FaZe, where FaZe was able to grab ground and know they could get someone there almost safely. But for this eco, it's all about the damage XSET can do to Gen.G's economy. Aaron takes one down there as they come in. Looks like it'll be the 3v3, but hard to take.
And it's such a smart rotation too from Gen.G, because in the middle of all of this, of course, we can see the lurk from Win, able to take a lot of control, and he's actually trying to attack the safe rotation through spawn from the defenders. Wow, that's a great swing from Thwyfo, able to take down Win. That's a very important kill, and that's going to allow them to get quickly onto the site. And they know that there's no time here for Gen.G. Gen.G have to plant immediately. There's no messing around, which kind of guarantees XSET a faster rotation to attack this site, as they know that the closer positions for them aren't going to be taken. They know Garage is free, and here comes the attempt to split onto the site. MD will get caught in the back, and looks like Mike will get caught quite badly as well. So that's a very important round for XSET to pick up. Very well played by them. I think both teams played this round correctly.
Yeah, there was amazing comms there. No one rushing in without the control of knowing what's going to happen first. Everybody looked at the angles that they needed to, and that dart that Thwyfo was able to find on, I believe, GMD it was, that kind of put a nail in the coffin for that one. Really great utility to still have up in the site, thwarting that one. And we see the XSET retake ability, again, coming into play a little as we go on to our next round. Here comes the op, though, for Win. It's up against Pure.
This is going to be interesting. There is a possibility for a forward paranoia as well as a dash, but it is, of course, the operator. So be forced back. Feeling the presence though, quick garage take coming through. Sean gonna pop the run it back as he charges into gain some space. The tripwire doing his job. The paranoia also really slowing things down here. XSET are managing this situation pretty effectively, but the jiggle against Win, that's not gonna work out for Pura. And now suddenly, huge ground game by Gen.G. They were able to take one back with the showstopper. Weeded with the lurk for the smoke for the double. And it's looking very difficult now suddenly for Gen.G. But Sean coming in from the back is changing everything. As Kusta takes down Weeded, there's nothing left for XSET.
Wow, I mean, Long Sea is obviously one of the op havens, if you will, on Haven. But to just see the dry peaks on each other, that's not normal. That was Spira was trying to say I got this, and Win said no, I have the way longer angle, easy shot. You would have expected that maybe to come from the top of the C box, but it goes either way, right? Pura hits that shot, and we're talking about it differently. It is 4-1 now as Gen.G kind of staves off losing more than one here against XSET. Keep that advantage in their favor. XSET forced back onto a semi-bye.
Fighting one tag, but that is that for now. And you can see things are slowed down a lot here for Gen.G on the default, just trying to see if there's going to be any early aggressions coming in from XSET. XSET playing quite passively themselves as well, leaving the Cypher util towards A long and short just to be the info, the sole information for them. So right now, XSET don't have really any information. It's just what the Cypher cam may see.
Difficult to play comfortably off of that. It's like maybe you feel comfortable at the shots when they get into sight, but using your util as soon as you see somebody and they're already cresting the entry into the site you're defending becomes a little too late. Here we have it into the A spike site, and the Hunter's Fury is not going to connect too much. He's forced to fake that as from the shadows gets canceled out, and now it is going to be a full hit here. So Gen.G already in, XSET to now perform another retake. Let's see how they do it with one shock dart out and a bit of damage.
Awkward stuff for them on the retake as Kura's trying to make some space here. The dash comes through right into the cage there. Will get taken down. BCJ able to get one kill, but Sean is going to annihilate the rest. Easy hold for Gen.G. They are looking indomitable on their attacking half so far. 5-1. And it doesn't seem to be improving for XSET. It's a tough one. You know, XSET, they played it really passively, and there's not really anything wrong with playing it really passively in a situation like this where the other team slowed the pace down so much. They're trying to punish you playing for information. It's just those retakes are not working out.
Yeah, I think the consideration of playing it passively also passively also has to be thought about what ults are ready. With the Hunter's Fury there, Asova can just dry fire it into the defense entry point on A, and you have no way to help somebody if they're on default box. Heaven might be already smoked off, so being that far back, having the ult pushing you even farther back just, you know, adds to it. So it makes it difficult without considering those heading into the round. 5-1. See what ults might be up here. That Blade Storm as well as GMDs from the shadows. We'll see if they use that at all. It's Wifo's Neuralink already down here. So it looks like it's going to be a C hit with the garage play, and already through is Sean on the enemy lines.
Some trades coming through, but it's quickly over as Gen.G just have too much. Nice anti-eco again, really able to deal with any of the shenanigans of XSET. I was really looking forward to seeing Weeded accomplishing something in the dark cover with the Bucky, but not to be. 6-1. It just continues this dominance from Gen.G. Of course, there's still an opportunity for XSET to turn things around, but really it should start here. And off the bat, we're not seeing anything too unusual from their initial setups. The Cypher util is mostly towards the C site there. Looking to hold the backside if there is to be a finish on the C side. But again, mid pressure coming in as expected. A very fast lurk though from Kusta into short B. Oh, wow. Okay. Oops. GMD gets caught immediately by Weeded there. So some of these plays not working out off of the ults.
Feeling like they have a little padding to throw these few rounds in there. Get the nice trickery ones. And as well, if you can make these rounds count, then you're just in your opponent's head all sorts of ways. Here pushing into A once again. So look how far they can get up before being seen, right? Those kills happen and everybody's forced to rotate. Beautiful job by Aaron there to be there off the rotation since B isn't on full watch. But it's a scramble now. With Gen.G getting so close, they just start pulling the trigger and XSET has to run. Nice dash out of the window. Little damage there, almost taking him out. And Mikhail answers back.
Twifo finding some position to creep around the side though in the chaos. And XSET will finish it off. So it's an interesting one, Riv, because XSET, it's not as though they... Obviously, they did a great job to win the round, but it wasn't off of the back of them taking the initiative. It was them punishing plays by Gen.G that didn't work out. And so in that sense, you know, what you're always looking for in XSET's position is how can they replicate this success? Well, they got the kills on Sean, who, you know, didn't manage to do what he wanted with that run it back. And then obviously the very risky spawn from the shadows coming through as well that was punished by We Did. So XSET, I mean, it is something though. They get another round on the board. How can they keep it going?
They like playing with fire. That's just it. More power to them. Let's see if it works. They're going into round number 9. How do they push? Oh, there it is. A little bit of push down long. That sonar rather, allows them to get a bit more info. They can start to organize now. We're going to see Aaron probably push off, and now they rotate over. Love to see it. Gen.G Sean, another repeat. Run it back, coming through Barrage. As soon as Twifo turns, that's going to be the time Sean comes around the corner and wins. Going to pick one up on Pure as well.
Yeah, excellent work.
Spike planted.
XSET didn't know what hit him.
Last player standing.
That initial duel on long, that Omen battle, was really where things started to get out of hand. It was a great swing from GMD, taking down We Did in the 1v1, and just that fast control. That was the opportunity that then. A quick play into Garage, the run it back coming through from Sean. They were just ready to pounce off of that frag. Putting XSET back in a very tough position again. For XSET, it's either the case that they can challenge the default early on, or they play really passive. When they've been playing passive, their retakes haven't been working out, and they've not quite found the success there. There has been some close rounds in that regard, but generally they haven't found success there. And when they're trying to attack early on, we saw it in that last round, it backfired and they got punished as well. So it's almost feeling like for XSET right now, you know, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Right, you see him trying to sort out who can buy, who can't. It's been a little jarred. I mean, that'll happen when you got somebody saving and blade storming and then buying. So you work around those, the sheriffs, to help them a little bit longer of range, but a full save for Twifo there with the expensive cost of Cypher utility. Round 10. We've just started off on this one. Map number 2. Quinn's going to open it up on a Twifo a little bit too far on the leap as he tries to get a peek see long. Almost the push as well from Pure to get a kill for himself as they are trying to trade back. It's just not going in their favor.
Definitely. It's this time Gen.G's not in a position to pounce for a C-split, but still they're 5 versus 4 up. There's a lot of time left on the clock. So what they can do here is they can, as you can see, they're forcing a lot of fear towards that A site, that there's a big rotation for the defenders. Then they can just go into the spots on the map that are open, such as B or C, and that's exactly what's happening right now. Completely out of position on the defense, XSET, and Gen.G will walk into the B site for free. Sean is clearing it out, and they don't have to commit the spike here as well. They can maybe force some mistakes here. They're faking the plant initially, trying to get someone to jump out, and there comes the push. Aaron's going to pull out the showstopper, and after the trades are said and done, is actually not looking too bad here for XSET.
I love the fact that they ran the strat this round, only peppering B every so often, especially when you get Twifo down first and all that utility's gone. Now the fight for B comes in. Sean was able to get way too many kills in the site before they were able to take him down. However, Aaron trying to do what he can. Mikhail on point with that aim. Eagle eye between the eyes of Aaron. There's the sonar. Fake plant twice. He could still have the ping on him. This is up to BCJ. And a very, very big round to possibly make it a 7-5 here on the first half.
Yeah, that was really well played. I think it's interesting because, you know, Gen.G could have played that out in the mid rounds in one of two ways. They opted to go for B, and it was quite smart because they were they knew that XSET were in a pretty tough position and that you want to try to attack the site when the player is planting the spike. So they were faking it a couple times to actually force a push through the dark cover whilst they were holding it. But even still, XSET found some great timings, great engagements, used the utility well. Aaron with the showstopper, that really made the difference. So maybe back here as we get an aggressive push on C Long from XSET. If this works out, that could be huge, but that one cam, the value is insane. They get 2 off of the back of that, and it's again another desperate scenario for XSET.
They try and dash immediately into the site. It is going to be a 4v2 as the rest of Gen.G just create chaos and space, making their way in. BCJ and Thwyfo now doing their damnedest to get these guns out of the hands of Gen.G. and give themselves a possibility for a few more rounds as they see the fight's going to start in Garage.
Oh, great stuff there from Michael again. Well, the 7-5 is not going to happen at this rate. It's looking like it could very well be a 9-3 XSET. It just seems like anything that they try is not working out. This was a great play, I think, to try to make, because they know that C Long has been very consistently played for in these defaults from Gen.G. So trying to take the push there, I think, was really smart. But they were in a spot where either they had to commit there or, well, they probably just had to commit there, even though the cam was up. It's just so tough to make that call. It just feels impossible, honestly. I don't think you can fault them from trying to back away at that point, and they bought.
Get a slow A here with the Sova drone over towards C. Nice paints to start off. I love the push from Aaron. Oh, through the wall, takes a shot to the shoulder. Aaron's going to try to push there. Kusta is more than ready and waiting with the Vandal across his hip. And now BCJ is going to be in the side alone. How far can he get before Kusta may find another? Takes one out. I love the distraction coming in from Weeded there. That was a beautiful play.
Yeah, it's huge here from Gen.G, this push as well. Oh, I mean, it's the last round, so they have to go for it. But if we look at what they're working with, it's pretty rough. It is pretty rough. Paranoia is available, though, for Weeded. Looks like he's just going to send it straight through. Side. I mean, there's so many spots that they can be standing in. It's just very difficult, and they'll both go down instantly. So 9-3 at the end of the first half for Gen.G, and it feels pretty disheartening if you're XSET for sure, because there was a lot of things I think that they did right, but they just couldn't win the fights. They didn't get the timings they were looking for, and Gen.G just performed extremely well on some of their entries as well. Like, Sean has some great entries into the sides off of the run it back. The holds like this were just really strong. So Gen.G looking like they're just simply outclassing XSET currently.
The post-plant crossfires and just playing off contact, knowing when the team can peak and cannot, has really set Gen.G above this game. 14-5 Sean on top. BCJ 10 and 11 trying to frag out. Pure, his last map was his again, but it seems to just be too much weight right now as he can't seem to find the frags, and Gen.G is getting the better of him in these trades. Here we are on to our second. Let's see what they have for pistol down.
Looking like garage control might be the order of the day here for XSET, but Gen.G definitely have the ability to play retake on C. I think GMD has to survive. That paranoia is going to be money. So that's going to be the thing that will allow his teammates to just retake really effectively here. There goes the paranoia, steps straight through to the side, and in comes the rest of Gen.G. Win to open it up, Sean to back him up, and it's looking strong at the beginning at least. But XSET, they answer back really strong as well, and it's down to Michael to try to save the day here, but he'll get taken down. XSET hanging on by a thread, but they do hang on, and that's round 4 on the board for them.
Talking about Pure a little bit, it is not setting him back mentally that he's down there. It doesn't matter. He's still doing a great job. Was a big component of why that round was a win. Getting in, opening up the plant, and then staying alive for the time that he did, so BCJ could come up with that other shot for help. They stay in it, 9-4. That first one's hopefully going to rack them up a few more is what they're thinking. And we'll see how they start this off with a quick dart to just see if there's a push down there.
Standing ahead.
It's going to be C, though.
4-man push. Let's go. Oh, this is the spot, though, isn't it? Oh! Well, maybe not. That's interesting. We have a round on our hands now because you can see the run here from rather from Gen.G, they're gambling that it's going to be A because they know 4 players. They just showed 4 players on C long, so they know their only reaction from XSET is going to be rush A. So, and they have the man advantage. This could be doable here for Gen.G.
You love to see these gamble rounds, DDK, and how they might play out. It really stretches the team thin as they start to enter the site. Trades going back and forth. And it's going to be a quick round for XSET. Yeah.
That's great for them. You know, they convert, and it is funny because, you know, the kill is made on C long, but at the same time, it's almost a double-edged sword because it allows the team that's on the buy to be actually able to just take a side for free. And usually in rounds like that, when you're on pistols, it feels impossible to retake with only pistols. But either way, into the buy rounds, obviously there are some Spectres still in play, and that's something that I'm sure Gen.G will be counting on.
Up into A. How does XSET play this one? Trying to see if anybody's grabbing info right to the smoke. Jet on jet action, and Pure takes down Win. That's going to be a big frag as they swap out the weapons. Vandal now coming up top. Shock Dart doesn't do too much to Fells just behind, but Mikhail's going to stay for the fight as he gets paranoid, and we're going on A.
Big kill from Michael, though, trying to hold things down. Nice follow-up, too. Gen.G, that's going to allow them to have a very solid retake effort. Aaron's trying to go forwards, trying to take the action straight to the defenders, but it's now down to the Viper, and the spike is not even planted. Didn't have time, didn't have space, and now they don't have the round. It's Gen.G 10 and XSET 5.
Just able to shut it down. You know, losing Win in the beginning is an impact frag. Coming in for XSET, they get into the site, and just a few in the back are able to really start shutting it down. Maybe not enough util to cover once they're in, but Gen.G they seem fearless trying to get back in there.
Wow, this is a nice spot.
16 on the board for your round. Who's going to be able to take this one? Quick Roomba down low. They know Quinn's pushed up once again. He's saying maybe they won't think I do it twice. Comes a Hunter Fury. Goes down A. Uh-oh, that's going to be a quick shot as Quinn takes down Pure.
That was... I don't know if it was intended that way, but it ended up being such a bait. Oh my god. That feels pretty rough. If you're XSET again, I feel like I've been saying that a lot. And they're forced to go for a mid play here. Kusa takes down Weeded. It gets worse. They needed that pick to find, at least force some rotation and give them something extra to work with. Viper at least takes down GMD. Kusa makes a forward play, and that's going to be capitalized upon. XSET finding the forward timings now. BCJ punishing due to that fact. And there goes the B plant. Still not done though in the 2v2. As Sean works his way in from Garage.
Exactly where you are.
Oh, they have to go now. They know exactly what's going on. Thanks to the neural theft, Win is going to be coming forward, and BCJ is taking the confident battles. Love to see it.
XSET needs these rounds. Actually, it actually is looking good for them. Win obviously has Blade Storm, and there's a run it back, so they could probably expect something towards Garage this time, but I feel like a lot of what Gen.G's been able to work off of is Mikhail having great games so far, having those Hunter's Furies, causing so much disruption, Quinn and Sean and they're working with that utility over their shoulder, being able to break the movement mold, get into the site, and really mess around with how XSET is trying to defend seems to benefit them here. All going towards one side. That's going to be a quick one. And the family photo of C Long benefits XSET here. Let's see how they can get in.
Oh no! Oh no! Come the Blade Storm, and just for a second, your heart drops. You think it's possible. Win does get shut down though. He's been imperious so far in this series, and XSET looking like they're gonna be able to deal with this though. The spike will be planted. Not really the power of weaponry for GMD or his teammate. Michael sitting also it is a sheriff, but no position to work from. And the pressure coming through the suppressing fire from BCJ will keep the defenders at arm's length for now.
One enemy remaining.
And I love this, great decisive play from XSET, just sending it up C long, running into a couple players. That's a bit of fortune on their end, and it's really encouraging to see that. I feel like on the first half, they did get a little bit unfortunate. So it's good to see some of that serendipity going their way this time.
I feel like they had the, all right, we got this deep breath conversation a few rounds ago. It just seems like they're playing much more comfortable. Those corner checks aren't just like jump peaks that they're trying to get out of. They're fully committing with a few people behind them. And we'll see if they continue to do this. They feel like Long C is going to get peaked again. They say, all right, let's take the fight. Maybe even if we drone first, we have the advantage. Last time it was a Roomba, and it does look like it'll be drone first. Smoke comes out, and they can't really take advantage of too much here. Oh, my.
That's a very quick and very important trade there from Pura. Ooh, Kusa just dodging the Hunter's Fury. Now, they probably shouldn't commit at this point. Too much time has passed since those initial engagements. They know the rotation is in. So they're holding position, and they're hoping that either they get a peek for info from the defenders, they get a kill, then go in, or enough time passes, and the defenders will have to rotate off if they don't get info. And that's what they're waiting for. One of those two options.
Still have Hwin hanging out over on A. Vandal's ready. And it looks like he may be the first one to find the next bit of action, unless mid is going to be what's hit. Like you said, Cam there really nicely plays for B. They don't have to offer too much aggression from the defensive side, so they can stay floating. But it actually looks like they're kind of reading it here. Mikhail thinks he's going to be seeing something soon. XSET is so ready to just play this one out to the last 20 seconds. They're going to put the pressure on and make Gen.G play this a little sweaty.
I think this is really smart. They forced Gen.G into a spot where they have to play 2 to a site. And if they get these initial entries, they'll win the round. But it comes down to that, and they'll take down GMDs up to Kusa. 70 points of health. Where's the timing? Look through the 3 quick ones. And just like that, Kusa, he could have saved the day. The spike has to be grabbed. There's just enough time to plant it. But can BCJ keep himself alive? The drone is coming. He's going to get tagged. There's no way to stop that. He's in a hell of a lot of trouble in this position. BCJ is up against everything right now. He's been set up by his teammates to succeed, but it's even better for Gen.G thanks to Kusta with an insane trio of kills from nowhere.
You failed. Now sleep.
That was incredible, that round. You feel like you have the world on top of your shoulders as soon as your teammate goes down and doing so much work. You know, back in the day playing, you do 2 and you kill 2, you've done your job. You get in a third one, you're basically winning the round for your team in an instance like that. So props to Kusta.
Yeah, and to get that third one too, he was still holding down mouse 1 and he just started running with it. So it's so insane like how that third kill comes into being, and it just changed the rounds. This game, that could be the moment that really tips the game now. It felt like XSET were really on track, but we'll see if they can recover from that. It won't mean too much if they can win this round. And they're actually just going for it towards A. They're not defaulting. They're not playing it slow. They're just going for the commitment towards A. But there's 3 players here.
A lot of util used without any return. This could help Gen.G as they just now have to fire. There's no extra util there for XSET. There was a nade, a showstopper, and people. Where are the smokes? Where's the distraction? Where's the chaos? Of course Gen.G is going to hit these shots.
That's really rough for XSET, just because that was just a great read from Gen.G. They were gambling that early in the early round timings. It was more likely there would be a lot of action towards the A site, and that was just a phenomenal read. And you can see that XSET had no idea that there would be 3 players here. They're hoping that there's going to be 1 player, maybe like that there's going to be a light hold and a retake setup, something like that. But it was far from that, of course.
Gen.G's making it look clean. Credit to them as well. They're giving XSET a tough time here as XSET battling back to grab these rounds here in the second half, and they're doing a damn good job at it. But it is game point. Their backs are against the wall, turning lights on the line here as Gen.G looks to move on if they can take this round. 21-14 from BCJ, the Sova initiator, popping off this game. Hopefully doing a little bit more for his team as they start to peak this C long, a place where they found a few early picks and possible advantages in previous rounds.
He's going to have the Hunter's Fury now as well. Yeah. And so there's definitely some opportunities. That Sean on the run it back, though, that's something that scares me for XS's chances. I feel like that could be very dangerous. After that initial pressure, though, they will reset back out, running towards the A side of the map here. And how long will it take Gen.G to sort of realize this? At the moment, Gen.G are maybe expecting that XSET will just sit and then re-exec into the C side of the map.
Right.
We did get the info play with from the shadows from GMD just now, so seems like their big Gen.G is starting to piece it together.
Win on top of the box, looking for a one-in dash. Not gonna find it just yet, so he falls off quickly. Here, XSET now trying to get inside. A little bit more util used right off the bat, so they push Gen.G back into it, and now they've gained a bit of ground. We did. Gonna throw that spike down, and now the post plant is on for XSET.
Yeah, they did a really good job to get into this position. The retakes, or rather holding some of these sites, have been very difficult against Gen.G. They are playing out of their minds. A run it back again is available. There it is. He gets popped by Sean as he makes his way forward, trying to clear space, trying to trade out for his teammates. Not going to happen, though. It's looking pretty damn good right now for XSET, holding on to things. Sean is the last left, and he's going to be the last to fall in the round as XSET come to completion, and they managed to save themselves, bringing themselves up another round. They're trying to come back in this one. They're gonna have to force an overtime. It is an uphill struggle, to say the least, for XSET, but at least they're still in it.
Absolutely. It's so great to see that mentality shift is still positive, or not even mental shift if it's still there, just positive for XSET. They're not feeling like they have to play to not lose. They're still playing to win. They're getting into the sites. They're not afraid of Gen.G, even after all these rounds. Blade Storm might slow them down here, a neural uplink if they lose someone early, but they do have the Hunter's Fury. We've seen that a lot now on site entries, Dan. Instead of plants, we've seen that Hunter's Fury used to create chaos and open up these sites. Sean with a good push to start here.
Yeah, that's a great catch from Aaron there. And you may expect to have seen Weeded actually holding the C-long push. It's more typical of the Omens to use a TP to do that as opposed to a satchel being used from the Rays. So I wonder if they can gather too much info. And it's a reset back into the A site. And Michael's able to pick up an orbit to get his Hunter's Fury this round as well. So we know that that's very useful on the retakes. There's no run it back left available. So in terms of the ultimate economy, XSET's looking pretty strong here. And it is, though, the site that being given up for free, using from the shadows to clear things. We did now has that held position. But Kusta, can he cause any problems here with this Odin from heaven?
Shots start coming in. Here's the chaos coming in from one of those Hunter's Furies. Remembers, BCJ's is back and still safe. He's running. He is heading for the high hills right now, and he's going to start firing it off. This is going to go towards the entry, slowing down the entry instead of the post plant. They don't even want Gen.G in that spike site, and it's a good hold so far. It looks like XSET may have this one locked down.
Oh, great trades coming through from XSET. They did an excellent job, and I think you made such a good point there, Riv, about using that Hunter's Fury to delay the push, because especially at that timing, Weeded had just died, so it's pretty good to just give some breathing room to the remainder of XSET so they can position in a way that's beneficial after losing that player and sort of reset that situation and allow themselves to take more control, burn more time. So it just you know, a lot of people might think, especially in matchmaking, you're playing more for yourself and you're going to be saving that for when they get onto the spike. But if you're going to, you know, you got teammates alive, don't allow them to even get on the spike.
Gotta love it. Little innovations, the min-maxing we're still seeing here all the way through as Valorant still hits that professional scene. Oh, okay, Hwin. He's getting pretty aggressive here. Let's see what he can do. Nope.
Juking the drone there. This is a little bit scary.
Everywhere.
Oh, you got to be very careful of what Hwin's able to accomplish. You can see that XSET are trying to take this slow. They've got lots of time. They don't need to rush things here. It's actually Gen.G that are feeling a little bit more like, okay, we've got to do something in this timing before they start moving towards the site. They've got players in position. It's a bit of a stalemate right now, but Hwin dropping the smoke, suggesting maybe that he's repositioning away from that smoke. And now Kusa's creeping up. This is extremely scary because if Kusa finds one, that's a problem. But XSET looks like they're good for the frags here. And I think the worst is, of course, being dealt with. And you know, Sean might get one with this Sheriff. The ion cannon, love it.
Yeah, free headshots, as I always say. A lot of those plays we just
30
saw as well
seconds left.
made on the opportune time of just
Spike planted.
something else happening on the map. Actually, we gotta focus on Sean here. Oh, he's gonna make some moves. Almost able to hit that off of the tracer fire on Thwyfo as he takes a bit of damage. But yeah, knowing there was such a hold there from Thwyfo on Quinn pushed up. But the moment Mikhail was able to find a kill and there was disruption on the screen, right? Something coming up, a frag, that's when Thwyfo peaked. The moment you might be thinking about something else, you have to use those moments to your advantage in any type of gameplay at any level.
Yeah, and this round we will see a different position from Win with the operator. Previously, he was working C long, he's going back to short. It looks like he may get aggressive, and XSET have been trending much more towards the A lobby side of the map, so he might get an opening pick here, and that could really cripple the beginning of this round. Actually just dropping the, because we saw the boombot coming through, so he has to give up that play. That's actually huge, and that's going to give a long control to XSET. They do have C long control as well. They've got mid as well. So it's all about resetting now. You can see them falling back out of this position. That forces Gen.G to have to regain information. And there's usually a delay before a team will do that. And there it is. The drone will clear A long. And Gen.G realize they're rotating off.
Ping. You know, Dan, that's something we pointed out as it looks like they're going to hit C, is that XSET would kind of give up too much info, not stay in areas, and have to then reconsider what they can take. Now that may be a situation over towards A, but they had that C coverage. Now they move as a death ball, and this has worked for them. Power and numbers for the team trading off each other. We'll see how much they work off of this drone. Ults up is Thwyfo's Neural Link, Blade Storm, as well as the showstopper to just Kusta's Neural Uplink. So here's the garage play coming in from XSET.
They burned the paranoia on C, so I think they always want to finish C here, so they're resetting into that. They wanted to try to force a rotation, didn't come through, but oh, they get the entries, Riv, and it's not looking too bad. But Kusta, this guy, he's been the man that's caused problems in the past on this site, but they'll take him down.
I don't know how that happened. He drew the most beautiful picture with ammo behind both of them. I've never seen that. Oh, it looked like the crosshair was right on it. You know, we've all been there. 12 to 10, that spike has been planted, and it looks so good here for XSET. This is something you want to see from the teams in the top 8. Not that they just fall behind and can't iterate to find ways in.
And I just love how they played the flow of this round, because they, with that really strong presence, A lobby at the beginning of the round, and the boombot forced back Win, so Win couldn't get an opportunity to pick with the operator. He couldn't get an opportunity to really do anything. He had to give it up, and he fell into the site. Then they had to burn a drone. Early round, they had to burn a drone, which is extremely valuable for usually the mid round, to clear A long, to just determine that they rotated off. Then they're like, okay, they're going C. So the pressure comes in C, and the paranoia gets burned, but still there's so much time happening because of how quick XSET are moving. They can reset again. So they've wasted all the info utility, all the defense utility, and then they get to re-exec onto an Omen that doesn't have the paranoia. So yeah, the way that XSET played that round was awesome.
This is gonna be fun.
Nowhere to run!
Here comes this Fury coming in from BCJ. Really needs a connection there. Doesn't manage to find it. A little bit of actually no damage done to Gen.G, and they got that opening bit of damage or rather they got that opening pick, sorry, I should say. Gen.G against XSET. So XSET, one more round's all they need, but I think this is the first round in a while, and they're going to start down 4 versus 5. They're going to mix things up, going for a heavy presence towards B. Win is going to get another one. Kusta swinging for the next, looking like a fantastic defense, not even able to get through the door. Completely denied XSET, and Pura coming through. Wow, okay. Did he just get a headshot with a knife and not get the kill? I don't even know, but it's the flawless round for Gen.G. Gen.G lock it down 2-0 against XSET. Great performance from them. And that's going to be them moving forward. And XSET, they're out of lives.